Today we are talking about chakras. Now, what I wanted to do for you is go over the where the chakras are in our body, and when they're balanced, how are you feeling? And when they're imbalanced, how are you feeling? And also to bring in a guest to give us a new perspective on chakras coming from a very valuable place of a healer, someone who helps you with the physical aspects of your body. And I'm excited about this conversation because chakras are so important and they rule our health, they rule our mind, they rule our spirituality and our energy and how we operate in this world. So, welcome, Kat. Go ahead and introduce yourself to us and how you help people.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me, by the way. It's great to be with you and my colleague and partners and fellow healer. So, yeah, I'm a holistic nutritionist. I'm a chef, a behavior coach, and basically a lifestyle hacker. And I work with women, usually middle-aged, and work with them on the level of stress eating, issues with digestion. As you know, as a holistic healer, it's the whole mind, body, spirit. So it's not just the physical. And that's why I love talking about the chakras, because we're talking about the whole spectrum of our being. So you go ahead and start the conversation, Amy, because I know that you have so much to say.
Yes. So I wanted to really keep this, to where if you haven't done chakra work before, where are they located, and what does it mean? What kind of energies are coming from those areas? So we decided to start with the root chakra today because, many of us are feeling ungrounded, as Kat pointed out. So the root chakra is down below near your pelvis, right? And it's our foundation. Okay. It's where we build, safety, security, stability, and it's associated with the color red. And I know Kat is speaking to this also. And when it's balanced, when you are balanced in your root chakra, you're feeling secure. You're feeling like centered and grounded, and you're feeling safe in this world. And this is where maybe we got disrupted in our root chakra in the last couple of years. But the root chakra is really about creating a strong foundation for our life and feeling safe. So what do you have for the root chakra, Kat, when people
Oh, so important, so important. So gosh, yeah. I have a lot to say. Well, if you think about not feeling safe and not feeling balanced and secure, you want to think about immune system and how apropos, right now and during the pandemic, endemic, as we call it. So we want to look at what are foods that are wonderful for the immune system. And we look at the color red, as Amy was saying, and red, ironically, we have lots and lots of foods that are rich in vitamin C that are red. So peppers, tomatoes, goji berries. But we also want to think about structure, right? And structure being things that are structural in nature. What builds structure? Proteins that make amino acids into our system for growth and repair. So you want to think about healthy animal proteins if you eat them, wild caught fish, anything that's rich in protein like a bean, legume, things like that. So those are the two things that I would mention for this chakra, making sure that you have substantial protein and also really do make sure that your foods are very high in vitamin C, or you're using vitamin C in your day at some point.
I love that. Yeah, because our immune system is our foundation of our body. So I want to speak into, if you're feeling blocked, what happens? Like if your root chakra is blocked, what might be happening?
Yeah.
Right?
So stress and anxiety, things like that.
So on my end, it's like stress, anxiety. You have scattered energy. like oftentimes I get that scattered energy of like, oh my God, I got so much to do. And I'm not, I get into anxiety and fear sometimes. And if you don't have that grounded chakra in balance, you might be, even if it's really overactive, you might be very materialistic, have feelings of like wanting like to domineer someone or being overpowering someone. Um, so this is so important to really focus on grounding our root chakra because it really creates peace and stability in your life. So if you're blocked, what might you be feeling on your end, Kat?
Yeah, I would say you could be blocked in allowing, let's say, new ideas in, let's say, your food. You might be stuck to certain foods all the time, repeating, I don't know, those 3, 4 things that you have to have in your day. And then maybe it's not following any sort of regimen or any sort of meal plan for your day. You might be like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to eat. I'm just going to just let it flow. And then by the end of the day, you're like, I didn't eat right. I didn't eat correctly for my body. And I feel bloated, or I don't feel, like my blood sugar stable. I'm just a mess.
Mm. Yes, I've done that before where
We all have.
you're like so scattered about what you're going to eat. Like you're not even sure and then you don't eat anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I think we're going to go up to the second center, which is the sacral. So it's above, it's like right below, like kind of below near your belly button. And this is, the color on this is orange, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah. And it's, when you, excuse me, are balanced in this area, you have feelings of joy, pleasure. This is like your sexual chakra. It is nurturing. It is about procreation, deep emotions, passions, optimism, and creative energy. So this chakra is so important for us women also to really get into our feminine energy with our sexuality, with our creativity and our joy and pleasure. And how about you on your end when your sacral chakra is balanced? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So we, of course, femininity, like we were talking about, creativity, also reproductivity, of course. The foods that are wonderful for this area are going to be things that are fluid in nature, omega-3 fats, things, even, eating more fish and seafood in your day. Those are rich in omega-3. So those are really good, but also foods that are rich in beta carotene, because beta carotene is a precursor for vitamin A, which is wonderful for reproductivity. But did you know that I think they did several studies on in animals, but that their reproductivity goes up way higher with beta carotene rich foods, that they were supplementing their diets, and they found an extreme positive correlation between beta carotene and reproductivity. So if you, I guess on the other side of it, if you don't want reproductive, don't eat as much beta carotene. No, definitely eat color.
Tell me some foods with beta carotene in it.
Yeah, so anything orange pigmented, let's say squash, carrots, sweet potatoes, yams, that kind of thing, pumpkin. And also, dark green leafy vegetables also have beta carotene. So it's not necessarily only in that pigment, but it is roughly around that.
I love that the colors are matching, pretty much matching the foods.
Oh yeah, it's so true. It does. It matches.
So if we're blocked in this area, right, as you probably know, your libido might be down. Your intimacy with your partner, you might not have much interest in it. You have low creativity. You might be feeling lonely and uh, put yourself in emotional isolation. And also, you might withhold intimacy from your partner when you're blocked in this chakra.
Mhm.
Um, so it's very important for us to balance the chakra because of those the sexual energy is so important for us as women. So tell me on your end, Kat, about this chakra, and if it is blocked, what might we be experiencing
Mhm.
um, in our physical body?
Yeah, that's a great question. You might be feeling that sort of dry skin, like you mentioned, low libido. We need fat to make hormones. Our hormones are made of cholesterol. Yeah, you said it right. I said it. It's cholesterol. We need cholesterol to make our hormones. So, making sure that you have enough sufficient fats at every meal so that you actually absorb those other nutrients in your body. Some of these fat soluble nutrients require you to have fat to absorb them, right? Fat soluble would be the vitamin A, D, E, and K. And all of those we need for healthy function. It's not just libido, or not just, your reproductive organs, but the soul sum of your body's organs, tissues, and glands.
Mm-hmm. And in what foods? What foods go with that? As you said,
Yeah,
omega
so nuts and
three.
seeds would be wonderful. Walnuts are a big one for omega 3s. You want to have correct balance of your essential fatty acids. They're called essential because your body can't make them. You have to eat them. So, there's the two that on the top of my list here are the omega 3s and 6s. Of course, there's many, many more, but they need to be in correct balance. Now, most Americans, proportion of omega 6s is way higher than the 3. It should actually be in around a 1-to-1 ratio, but the average American has about a 35-to-1 ratio of 6 to 3, and that's very inflammatory. So to lower inflammation, you want to squeeze that and have more grass-fed animals. Those are richer in omega 3s. More nuts and seeds, nuts like omega 3s. Using refined seed oils can really bump up your omega 6 fatty acids. So be careful dining out. You're going to see a lot of omega 6 fats being used.
Yeah.
Canola oil, safflower oil, all those things you want to really be careful. Use more avocado oil, use more walnut oil, olive oil, and coconut oil as a saturated.
Yeah, I worked in a restaurant for many years. I know that food. It's not good. Now we're going to move up. We're going up to our the third chakra coming up. So we went from the root to the sacral. Now we're going to the solar plexus. This is one of my most engaged chakra in my body, I should say. It's where self-esteem, pleasure, willpower, and drive, personal responsibility lives here. Um, you have a good self-image. You feel like you're in control, and you have great self-esteem. You're living on purpose. With you have great. You're pretty assertive, and when this is like not clear, when it's not. I'm sorry. When it is like in full flux, like beautiful experiencing of the solar plexus, and it's not blocked. Also, creativity is here. It's really about your personal drive, responsibility, and who you are. So tell me about the solar plexus when it is balanced and aligned.
Yeah. I call us the fire, right? The creative, the fire, that the ability to get things done, right? To get this job done and just have like excitement, right? A lot of times people are like, well, I'll get to it. Those people might be lacking the fire. And I would say for those, just to kind of speed up your information that you want to give out, it's like bad digestion. That's what happens. Poor digestion, malabsorption, not being able to release all the stuff that you're not wanting in your body, right? Detoxification through the channels of the lower, the lower bowels, and getting stuff out of your system. So I'd say just to have happy digestion, you want things like spices. Spices are wonderful to just really apply some heat to the digestive tract, so that you can really utilize and allow those foods into the cells. The other thing would be not to eat too much, right? So you allow the digestion to do its thing. But I would also say foods that are yellow. So I'm going to talk about healthy carbs being your legumes or root vegetables, sweet potatoes, things like that. Those are the three things that I would say: legumes, sweet potatoes, yellow potatoes, and some spices like turmeric and ginger, warming spices.
I'm reading your list here also.
Oh, yeah.
And it's saying honey, maple.
Yeah. In moderation, right? In moderation.
I like to put honey in my coffee. So
yeah. I like the bitterness of it.
Yes. So when your solar plexus is out of balance, right? We experience low self-esteem. We experience this feeling of powerlessness, and having this inferiority complex. So basically, you can often feel like the world is against you. You might be feeling like you just can't get ahead. And you might, if it's really overactive, you're really involved in perfectionism. You're involved in like domineering people. You're involved in judging people. When this is really, when it's blocked. When it's overactive, you're into that. But if it's in blocked, you're in low self-esteem. It's like Kat was saying, that fire underneath you can't get lit, right? Because she called it a fire, and I do believe that's true. So you're feeling like maybe even unmotivated, like because you just can't get that spark. So tell me about when, on your end, about your solar plexus when it is blocked. Yeah, well, when it's blocked, you're not going to be feeling like doing very much of anything because you're bloated, you've got GERD, you've got just an overall heaviness in the belly. And oftentimes life might be hard to digest, right? You don't feel like doing very much of anything when you're blocked, when your stomach is blocked, right? You're in a bad mood, right? Or you might feel down or anxious. And of course, we know that connection through the vagus nerve, gut and brain. So of course, whatever you think, all these chakras, Amy, they're intertwined, they're so attached, right? What's going on in one chakra is going to affect the next and the next. Our root chakra, when that's off and blocked, we're not going to digest well. We're not going to feel like having sex, right? So, and we're not going to feel that passion, right? Our heart chakra, which is our next one. Right. And so let's jump to the heart. The heart is actually green in color, which I'm excited to hear Kat's what she recommends for that color of green. So, man, if the heart is balanced, of course, it's all about love, right? And not only love for others, but self-love. And this is oftentimes what I hear from women is like they want more self-love. Well, your self-love's in your heart chakra, which is right about here, right? Excuse me. This is where you get feelings of peace, compassion, and this is also compassion for yourself, acceptance for yourself, gratitude. This is like such a powerful chakra when it's balanced. And oftentimes, as I said, this is one of the leading things I hear women say is that they want more self-love. So balancing this chakra is super important for us to be open to loving ourselves. And as we know, with love comes, as I said, forgiveness, gratitude, and self-acceptance. So tell me, when on your end, Kat, when the heart is imbalanced, what's going on in our body, and I'm seeing the green. So tell us about the food.
Yeah. Well, green, my goodness, the heart chakra is the connecting, it's the middle between the physical, the lower chakras, and the non-physical and the upper chakra. So that heart is just communicating to everywhere. It's just everything. So that ability to actually give, the ability to receive, both of those are so important. The heart, it's so interesting that the heart chakra is not only the heart, but it's actually also the arms, right? The hands, right? Because you're giving and receiving with those things. Food wise, you want to be eating more green leaves, right? Those are also, really rich in the phytochemicals and the beta carotene as well. Also the fibers, but also the circulatory enhancing properties of these things. And that actually, if we don't have a healthy heart, we're not going to be around to offer our love and give our love. So it's really important. But also, I'm going to say too, really important is our breasts. And our breast health is so important. And things like green sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are one of the best things to eat for breast health. You can look this up on PubMed or any of the research studies out there. Broccoli as well. You can even get things like, if you don't like broccoli tea. There's broccoli tea, matcha green tea, any kind of leaf. But I would say that matcha has probably the best benefits with the ECGC and also L-theanine for heart health and also brain health as well. Anything that's good for the heart is going to be good for the brain.
Yes, it's important to put the breast in there.
It's important.
So yeah,
lungs too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
lungs as well. The lungs, the breast, the heart, all of that area. It's chakras are interesting because they're about regions, not necessarily one thing.
Right. Yes, as you said, everything is connected. So if you are blocked in this heart chakra, you might be having troubles in your relationships. You might lack empathy. You might be intolerant of love. Oftentimes I hear women say, I'm over love. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to be in a relationship. And if it's actually overactive, if that heart chakra is overactive, you might be into codependency. You might be an overgiver. You might give yourself away. And, that is very depleting for us as women. You might, you might be really attached to these relationships that are not good for you. If it's an overactive heart chakra. So this is why it's so important, because most of us women are relationship orientated. So it's important for us to have this balance. So we're not giving too much of ourselves away, nor are we just shunning relationships. So we don't want to be polarized. We want to get balance right in the middle, so we have healthy, loving relationships. So Kat, tell us on your end, if we are blocked in our heart center, tell us about that.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think this is probably one of the biggest ones right now at this time too. But yeah, I see this all the time with my clients, giving everywhere to their families and then not either getting anything for themselves or not giving anything to themselves. So really important in that area, especially when it comes to, like we were talking about, breast health. These things it's not a cause of breast cancer, right? Or a cause of heart disease. But there certainly is a huge correlation, between people that, die of a broken heart, right? Right. Or, give so much that they're so depleted and then they've got, lymph nodes in their breasts, right? It's, again, this is not it's simply a correlation. Yeah, I mean, all the foods that I mentioned earlier, the sprouts, the greens, the teas, green things, chlorella, spirulina, those are all wonderful things for the circulatory health, as well as breast health.
So if you're blocked, you could be having like
heart difficulty breathing, right? That where you go, I used to do that all the time, before I really had control over my stress, is I always needed to take that deep breath, right? That's when tender breaths, also, heart palpitations, or, the inability to just calm the nervous system, the heart rate. Heart rate variability is a big thing. That the space between the rhythm of the heart beats is really important. There's lots of different things, tools that you can use online. Look at Heart Math. That's a beautiful app where you hook up, this little electrode to your ear, and then you measure your heart rate variability. Breath work, even just super simple things like 4 square breathing, where you breathe, inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Super easy stuff to do.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting, because as we clear during this membership, while we clear our chakras, we're also implementing, we'll do breath work first. And
awesome.
It's going to be beautiful. So let's talk about the throat. We're coming straight up here. If it's balanced, you're able to, communicate effectively. You don't have fear of asking for what you want or stating the truth. You feel very confident, you feel confident in what you're saying and how you're saying it. You're also creatively confident, actually, when your throat center is balanced. You're communicating and behaving like a leader. So, and I used to have a huge problem with my throat chakra, because I never wanted to speak my truth or ask for what I want in my life. So having a clear throat chakra really gave me the ability to not be fearful of asking for what I wanted, saying it in the way that I wanted to say it, and be okay with that. So can you speak into the throat chakra and when it is balanced, and what kind of foods are in the chakra? And it's the throat is blue.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you said a lot of good words there, Amy, on the explanation. I'm going to add to that, our thyroid health is so important, right? And oftentimes I will notice in lots of my clients that their thyroids are off. And what else is off? Well, their inability to just be who they are, say what they want to say. Their voices have been shunned, or they feel that they just don't matter, right? Maybe they've been raising kids for 20 years, or maybe they've, not been doing what they really, haven't been following their passions, right? So not only do they not feel grounded, feel in flow, have that fire, or have that passion, they feel now their fifth chakra is not balanced. So what can we do for that? Thyroid health. We want to think about iodine. Iodine and selenium are huge, right? Those are minerals that help T4 convert into T3. So to actually have active thyroid hormone in your body. So the other thing is, and what's deficient in our soils today, Amy? Selenium. So selenium, if you're a vegan and you're not eating fish, that's another place you're going to get selenium. That's a concern. So you want to make sure that you're supplementing with selenium. It's a real easy supplement to take. But other things that you could be eating are things like sea vegetables. Sea plants are great. Nori seaweed. There's some delicious seaweeds out there, but do be careful if you get the seaweed at a sushi bar. Much of the time they have added colorings, MSG, and sugar. So be real careful with where you get your sea plants. You can get them easily online at Thrive Market. Love to do that. But yeah, that's what I'm going to say, is just really looking at sea vegetables, even fish, of course, fish, plankton, things like that. If you're not getting them, you can get sea, like you can even do like sea sprinkles, things like that. Yeah. That really helps with the minerals in your body that help the thyroid gland.
Do you take a supplement of iodine or no?
I don't. No, I don't. Because my thyroid's working pretty good right now. But you can, but you just need to be careful, because if you're like hyperthyroid, that could throw you in a tailspin.
Yeah. All right. So if we are blocked in this area in our throat, we are having issues communicating with people. We're arguing. We are really, and you know what? We're holding on to a lot of things like our
Mhm.
secrets. We're not, we're holding on to our pain. We are not speaking our truth, like Kat said. But this also affects our ability to listen to people, also, by
Mhm.
the way.
Mhm.
So if you are blocked in this area, we are not listening to other people as well as we could, which, as we know, in relationships, is so it's probably more important to listen than actually say, uh, say our thoughts about it or judgments about it. And if it's overactive, if you have this overactive, there, maybe you might see that person is loud, um, opinionated, sassy, just really over the top in their communication, when it's really overactive. So when the throat chakra is blocked, tell us about that, Kat.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think I kind of did already, but I'll just kind of say, just adding more. One thing I do want to say actually is that the ability to speak, it's not only that, you said listening as well, but it's actually the sum of all of the senses. So it's actually our ability to smell and taste. So one of the side effects of COVID a while back was the smell, decreased taste and smell. So for some people, that may be an issue. I'm going to say the nutrient that I really like
Mm-hmm.
for the senses is going to be zinc. Deficiencies in zinc can oftentimes create, lack of taste and smell. So yeah, so to be balanced in this area is going to really, honestly, it's looking at all of the chakras below us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is if we can feel safe enough and in flow enough and just passion, just have that heart to be able to listen to other people, to be able to speak our truth, right? So it's not just, eating those foods that I said or doing the behaviors that Amy said. It's actually looking at all of the chakras, the physical chakras that enable this to happen.
Mm-hmm. And it also says here ear issues as I look at
Mhm.
your.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Hearing.
what might that be like, ear
Yeah,
issues?
so let's say if you're not able to hear or listen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we might hear what we want to hear and maybe not really hear what someone means to say. And maybe you get angry because you're feeling kind of over fire at that little, you know, focus on the chakras that are being out of balance again, is that if we're not balanced in that fire, right, you're more apt to lash out at
Yes.
someone's comments, right?
Yes, been there, done that. It's good to be real here.
Yeah,
So we're going to come up to the third eye.
love
Our
that.
third eye is here is about our intuition. Our ability to really manifest. Our psychic abilities are up in here. There's clarity and wisdom when it's balanced. You might have visions, right? If we are that connected to our intuition, um, we start feeling like, well, this, we don't have to actually know something for sure, but we're like, this doesn't feel right when it's in balance, right? Or that person doesn't, I don't know, there's something about that person that's just not hit me right. So this is really about openness, imagination, our intuition, these feelings, like these senses that come up in our being about, I don't know about this. Something just doesn't seem right. Or something's totally right, right? So we are really connected here when we're balanced. Um, and it's imagination, creativity, openness, intuition, and our psychic abilities. So why don't you speak into, if your chakras are balanced, Kat, on your end, what does that look like?
Oof, Amy, I love this chakra. This is my favorite chakra. It's probably because my favorite color is purple.
Yes, I was going to say it's purple.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love this because, my God, it's like the science says it as well. It's like the blues and the purple foods are so good for cognitive function, for the brain, right? For memory, blueberries, blackberries, purple potatoes, purple kale, all of the stuff that's purple and blue. Look for it if you have a bad memory or if you want to just upgrade your intellect, right? It's a great food and it's so good. It's great. It's high in these pigments called anthocyanidins, and tons and tons of research on different subjects on, on people, on humans, and on animals, on improved brain function. So, what's not to love about it?
I mean, I'm into it.
Mhm.
I love it. I love that. And I'm going to speak about this a little bit. It's like, us trusting our intuition. So when we're blocked, we might not trust what's coming towards us. So we might not listen to it.
Mhm.
Okay, when we're blocked. We might not listen to our inner thoughts. So when our inner thoughts are telling us, we're not happy here, we don't listen to it. We just shut it down.
Mhm.
Which then also leads to a lack of direction and a lack of clarity. Oftentimes I hear women like, I'm not sure what I want. I'm not clear. And many times that's because the chakra is blocked because we are not listening to what we're actually telling ourselves, or what our spirit guides are giving us our messages, and we're not listening to those messages. So tell me about the chakras when they're blocked in
Yeah.
your third eye.
Yeah, it's a real interesting one, Amy, because we all love coffee and tea, right? And alcohol. And it's a double-edged sword because for some, not all people, but for some of us, it can, like, a little bit can be just great. It can provide clarity, it can provide connection, and kind of like that introspection. You can kind of think clearly and just be more calm, and that kind of thing. But then a very subtle amount more, and you're completely disengaged, right? You're not connecting. You had too much wine. You're not connecting. You're just disconnected, right? Same thing with caffeine. So mood altering substances such as these, you got to really watch, right? And it's just the smallest amount. And sometimes it's just like this saturation point. You might be great with having caffeine for 3 days, and then all of a sudden that fourth day you feel like shit. And then your body it just reaches an accumulation. A lot of these drinks that I'm talking about, look, I'm not a purist at all, but we have to know that many of them, most of them, I'm going to say, have toxins. Coffee has the highest is the highest sprayed commodity crop out there. So if you're not drinking organic, you got to be careful. California wines, sorry to be the breaker of this news, but there's upwards to like 200 different chemicals in some of the sprays that are added to some of these grapes. So we really want to be careful of the substances that we're consuming that are mood altering, as I'm going to say, because that's part of this chakra.
Yeah. And I'm seeing headaches, vision issues, brain health issues.
Yeah. Memory issues, focus issues. Those are big things. We use these things to focus more, yet they take us, when we consume too much, we can lose our ability to focus.
And finally, we're going to our crown. The crown is at the top of the head. When you open this crown up, you connect to the spirit world, you can connect to the universe, you connect to a higher purpose, to your God consciousness. And it's really this connection to spirituality. In my own life, when I teach dance and I go to choreograph something, I connect up first. I always open up my crown chakra and I allow the universe in to help me create, because I know that my creativity is hooked up to a higher power. So this is so important to open up, to allow that energy and space of creativity, of consciousness, of God, of spirituality, however you want to say it in your life. And when you open that up, it really just goes through your whole body, right? Because you are connected to something higher than yourself. So tell us, Kat, about when our crown is balanced. Speak into that.
Yeah, you have that spirit, that like openness, that there's something higher than ourselves, right? So when it comes to living, that's going to be, really the absence of toxins. It's a big thing. There's never going to be a day where we're zero toxins, but it's the ability to clear them, right? Are we manifesting all this sludge, toxic sludge in our systems, or are we able to just kind of get rid of them? And so, this color for this chakra, I see as kind of like this violet light, or even, it could be even white. And when I think about white, I think about cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower, the allium family, like onions and garlic, which are incredibly detoxifying. I think of no food at all. I think of periods of time where we're taking that fast between, dinner and breakfast, or even lengthier, or an intermittent fast, just to purify. I think about even just like juices, like celery juice, like kale, like green juices, to just cleanse and purify. And I would say that the thing that, you asked me before about all these chakras, it's like, how do we know when we're off? I'd say it's really that inability to allow things to move in and out of your system, right? The negativity that we're surrounded with, do we hold on to it, or do we trust that there's, something meaningful in the experience? So there's so much to this chakra. It's such a deep chakra, and it's interesting how you start your day with dance and the crown chakra, and I would start mine with being physical and grounded in nature, right? And maybe that's because of what we're trying to get more of. I don't know. Who knows why? It's interesting.
Yeah, for me, it's like it's my inspiration. It's my space to create. So, for me, it's not about being grounded in that. It's more like being open,
right,
and like receiving. So if I receive and I'm open, then things flow out of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, it is. It is very interesting. But and for you, it's like grounding is where you start first.
Yeah.
And I think we do it all in different areas. So.
Right. At different times.
At different times. But that's the beauty of chakras, is that you get, once you understand them and get them balanced and work with them, then you can use them how you want to use them.
Yeah, it's your GPS. I love it.
So if this is blocked, ladies out there, then we have judgments, we have depression, we have a disconnection with spirit. We might feel very alone. We're closed-minded. And, most of the time I start my meditations with my crown. I mean, sometimes my root, but oftentimes it's my crown, because that's, for me, the easiest to, get access to, like opening up to spirit, versus going to my root center and trying to bring the ground up. It's easier for me to go this way down. So, but which is also very interesting, how you want to do your meditation or do your clearings of your chakras. So tell us of when we're blocked in our crown, what might that look like?
Lots of things, Amy. I would say an inability to let things in, right? Let things, come from the outside. And even just that feeling of negativity, or that there's only the physical, right? That only maybe the physical manifestations are the most important things in life, right? And also I can also see too that, one can be like too imbalanced on the upside of the crown. Someone can be too, you've heard of that term, spiritual bypass.
Mhm.
And so not having any physical or lack of physical nature in their surroundings. So they can be too flighty and too out there, and then like just be too air, right? The qualities of air, and not enough of the others. But it's rare that I see that.
Mm-hmm. I might have seen that in a couple people, but not many.
Yeah.
And I know that there might also be dizziness. It says here migraines.
Yes. Any kind of cerebral or neurological issues, like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or anything like that. Those are kind of both in that physical area of, both of those chakras on the final sixth and seventh chakra. So the third eye, as well as the crown.
Mm, mm. Well, we hit all the chakras, ladies.
Yes. And there's even more than 7.
Yes, I know.
We're just going to concentrate on the 7.
Yeah, there's a lot more than 7. It's just for this are what we're doing today, and it could be an introduction for you. If it's not an introduction, then Kat's point of view on the chakras is exciting and new for me. So I always love to hear it. So, Kat, tell our audience like how they can get a hold of you, and I will have your link in this also, and they can visit your website. So
sorry about my little hungry dog in the background.
Sorry.
You could just go to my website, super easy, catdillon.com, CATDILLON, and I've got a little an opt-in for the chakra grocery pad. It's a front and side copy. You can download it yourself. It's on the other side too. Yeah. And you can check off before you go to the grocery store, make sure, like, hey, you know what? My crown is imbalanced, or heart chakra, I really need some love for my heart, or, anything. And check off the things that you want to buy more of, and things like that. And as you go through, you can, as we get to know you, I have lots of little tweaks and resources along the lines of chakra health. So sign up for it, and then who knows, I'll be able to feed you with chakra information.
Beautiful. Well, it was great having this conversation with you, Kat, and everyone out there, go have a beautiful rest of your day.
Make it colorful.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.